Here with Penn State GM Andy Frank. You're here at Pro Day, getting a chance to send these guys on into the NFL. Just a comment on the environment of this and getting a chance to really celebrate these players.
It's fun to see these guys. You recruit them out of high school and they were young kids, and you get a chance now to see them starting to live out their dream. When they came here, they wanted to be NFL players, and now it's right there. Chance for them to perform in front of the scouts today, show what they've done throughout the course of their career and what they're going to do in the future. It's really cool.
I think for you, you've been a guy who came in with Coach Franklin and the way you guys have built this program. I think you're one of those behind-the-scenes guys, and you'd prefer that on some level, but your job has changed maybe more than anyone else's in your tenure here. What is your role?
Yeah, wake up each day and try and figure out what it is that day.
There it is.
Dog
chasing his tail?
It's not quite chasing your tail, but trying to hopefully build the best roster that we can here at Penn State. It's a collective effort. A lot of people put a lot of time and a lot of effort into it, but it's kind of the chess piece of college football now, in the sense of, hey, we're recruiting kids out of high school. Money is now a factor in the high school recruiting space, along with the retention of your current roster. Trying to make sure you fill the roster the way you want it to be. You want to position by position. This is what we're looking for at those positions, from an evaluation standpoint, from a value standpoint to a certain degree, in terms of, hey, is this going to fit within our overall plan of our budget and what we're going to spend on the team, and trying to figure that process out and kind of work through the whole organization and get everybody's opinions on things, so that in the end, Coach Franklin and the staff can make the best decision possible for our program going forward.
Is there anything to having been here on both sides of the coin, pre-NIL, post-NIL, and then just it being in one place, right? Like, I couldn't imagine having been somebody that just took a job somewhere, trying to learn the culture, trying to establish their own culture, and then they get thrown in the NIL thing where it's like, okay, now I got to worry about donors. Now I got to worry about the politics of all these things. Is there anything to you, for the most part, you guys being here on both sides of the coins and having that consistency? It's
definitely an advantage. I think it's a consistency amongst our staff as well. There's a number of people. Obviously, there's change every year on your staff, but we kind of all know how we operate. Kind of when I'm speaking on something, the rest of the staff knows kind of where I'm coming from, what my biases may be, all of those type of things, and vice versa. And so as we're kind of having conversations through things, being here, knowing this place, you can adjust and adapt maybe a little bit quicker than maybe somebody else can if they're just showing up on campus and trying to figure out. I think the other big benefit for us is we've got a pretty strong culture in terms of how we want to go about doing things. We want to build our roster out of high school. We're going to develop kids. We're going to hopefully, days like today, you're going to see that. There's going to be kids on our performing today that were highly, highly ranked kids. They're going to go on and be first-round draft picks. There's also the flip side, guys that weren't quite highly ranked that we were going to develop in their time here. So we kind of all, as a program, understand this is how we're trying to build things. That consistency, that 10, 11 years of doing it, and with a pretty core group of people, kind of sharing that with the new people that come in. I think it has been helpful for us, for sure.
Coach Franklin talked to us a little bit earlier about the way you develop guys on into the NFL, and as you're having these conversations, of course, when you're trying to get a guy to stay in the program, before it was you're going to continue your education, you're going to play high-level football. Now you can add in that third piece, right, of here's how we can support you, your future, and your family as well with some of the opportunities available through NIL, through some of these relationships. How much are those conversations changing guys' decisions to maybe do that fourth year when they could have gone earlier?
Yeah, I think it gives the kid and the family a chance to make the decision they want to make, whatever that is. If the player truly wants to advance to the NFL and they think they're ready, and it's time for them to go, that still can be a good decision for a lot of kids. But now with the NIL money and the ability that we're going to go into revenue sharing, that they can look at the process and say, hey, I can make really good money right now in college. I'm a really good player. I've got a lot of value here. I'm enjoying my situation. I'm going to still graduate from college. And they should make the choice they want to make. And I think that's a great piece where in the past, I think guys may have felt a little bit of pressure of, if I don't make the decision to go to the NFL right now, I might be missing out on this money. Well, now guys can make the money here and advance to the NFL. And there's going to be some guys that make really, really good money here. And I think that's a positive thing, particularly those last year guys that have put a lot of work and a lot of effort in and become really good players. They get that choice, and I think that's a great part of the new era of college football.
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple of things that have just come about recently in terms of like solidified changes, and this thing's been around for a lot longer than that. So just talk about the landscape in general, some of those external factors that you guys have had to deal with, and ultimately where it was and where it is, and then ultimately where it's going.
Yeah, so for the longest time in college football, it's been a decision from on our side of the coaching side. We're recruiting a prospect, and the decision has been, hey, is he good enough to help us win a championship, in our opinion, or is he not for a scholarship? And that was always the conversation. And so it was kind of binary in the sense it was either yes or it was no. And so that was always the way you looked at and approached things. Now it's, okay, do you think this player is good enough to help us win a championship? And at what value is
and
there?
And
so that part has very much changed. But still, the core ways that you build, I think, in our opinion, a championship caliber roster is the same. And it's going to be different at every place. At a place like Penn State, we've got a really solid recruiting base, but it's actually an interesting one in the sense that, within the 3 to 4 hours, there's a bunch of big cities, but it's also not the South where there's just talent everywhere. So we have to be very, very good in our region and then go find a few guys here and there. That won't really change as far as the evolution of college football. But what will is just how we structure things organizationally. You're seeing things now where, hey, you've got 2 position coaches. You only ever had 1.
Yep.
All of those things are changing. I think it's going to be good for the sport long term. In the short term, there's some turbulence.